Someone was insane enough to give me a review copy of Dakar Desert Rally despite me being a giant asshole on YouTube and not having a lot of subscribers. Again, this can go very badly very quickly, but I'm actually not here to rip on the game. The game is actually pretty good, it just runs like ass. I'm a huge off-road racing game fan. I grew up playing Monster Truck Madness and 4x4 Evolution. As I got older, I spent a ton of time playing the Colin McRae dirt games as well as Baja Edge of Control. And yes, I do own Dakar 18, which came out from the same team a few years ago, but unfortunately, that game is not very good. Dakar 18's driving physics were clearly just not finished. It plays like a community college project where a couple kids were asked to put a car into Unreal and told to make it do vaguely car-related things. And the actual orienteering part of the racing, Dakar 18 is not a racing game, it's an orienteering game. In my opinion, it just does not translate very well to a video game environment and is just way too much to process way too quickly. Dakar Desert Rally, which came out today, actually fixes all of that. From what I've been able to tolerate, this game's actually pretty good. And this is probably one of the few times in sim racing, period, where a developer put out a really awful product and then went back to the drawing board and came out with a much better product years down the road. The janky driving physics stuff from the first game has been taken care of, and the force feedback, you do need to disable some sliders in the options menu so the wheel doesn't rattle around on you on straightaways, but once you do, it's fine. And the orienteering elements that made the first game really difficult to pick up and play, they actually still exist in the game, it's just something you have to unlock after a couple hours of play. What Dakar Desert Rally instead starts out as is like a more realistic version of MotorStorm or Baja Edge of Control. The game is also very self-aware about this, which is kind of neat, and I don't think I've ever seen this in sim racing before. They basically encourage you to start out on the Forza Horizon style off-road races, and then not very long into career mode, the game straight up tells you that, hey, this game is actually two games in one. You can keep doing the MotorStorm style races and progress through career mode that way if you want, because it's fun and we designed that to be fun as well. But once you've taken that basically as far as you can go and you want something more, click the big scary red button when setting up your next race, and try your hand at the actual orienteering side of Dakar. It'll make the stages a lot longer and be more true to the actual sport of Rally Raid. And once you've figured out that, as I alluded to earlier, there's a third unlockable mode, which cranks the orienteering stuff up to 11. The whole game is just really well designed, there's a ton of cars to drive, tons of different classes. The way you unlock stuff and repair your car is pretty smart. It functions identically to Need for Speed Hot Pursuit 2, where you just got tokens after every completed race, and you can use those to either repair your car after an event. The entire game functions as a rolling career mode, or you can buy any car in the game unrestricted. It's not like, oh, you have to beat the amateur championship to unlock the big rig class. No, you can just buy whatever the fuck you want and drive whatever you want. If you want to play this game driving nothing but bikes or side-by-sides, like, you can. The UI is nice, the stage layouts are really good, there's a nice mix of like off-road waypoints as well as traditional roads you're driving on, which you see right now. You're not always in the bush or awkwardly driving across sand dunes like the first game, which was just awful to deal with if you played it with a wheel. And just from front to back, you can tell like there was a ton of thought put into this game, and it's suspiciously high quality for the subject matter. I understand Dakar is pretty big and brands like Peugeot and Toyota pour millions into it each year, but it's not Formula 1 or NASCAR. And yet, this is not shovelware. It's significantly higher quality than the NASCAR game we received last year or the NHRA game we got this summer. And I really want to spend more time with it because with 5 classes of vehicles and 2 vastly different styles of racing, it's essentially 2 games in one. I love off-road racing, there's a lot to digest in this game, and it seems pretty well made. So, what's the problem with this game? Why is this video titled the way it is?
Very often during the playthrough, lags and twitches messed up the flow of a race. This isn't just something in small scale, but happens very regularly. As we tested it on a state-of-the-art PC, it is unlikely a problem on our end, but rather the trade-off for such a detailed and good-looking game.
Yeah, I 100% had the same problem as the Overtake guys did when reviewing this, and I'm just on an Alienware Aurora R6. I understand my PC's a couple years old, but like, F122 was fine, Assetto Corsa is fine, every other racing sim like stuff on the Madness engine is fine. NASCAR 21, which was on the Unreal Engine, also fine. PS2 emulation upscaled, again, awesome. This is the single worst performing game I've ever played on PC. I really want to spend more time with this game. Everything I've played so far is really good, but it runs like ass. And not in a tolerable way like PS2 emulation used to be, let's say, 10 years ago. No, like, it's worse. And while I'm really thankful someone sent me a key for this, I can't really say much more than that. This game shipped with pretty crippling performance issues for a lot of people.